I was at Coney Island Hospital at the night of the storm in their command center. And Coney had never seen water come anywhere close to the hospital. And obviously on that night, for the first time, water surrounded the hospital. It was perhaps 3 feet deep in parts of the parking lot. It entered the first floor of the hospital. One indelible image was after we lost power, because the emergency generators there actually are just above grade, 2 feet above grade, and our engineers smartly powered them down before the water hit them and shorted them out. But for 4 hours, we were without power and using flashlights and the battery-powered light. And the executive director and I went down to the first floor just to check out the first floor, which at that point had been evacuated. There was a knocking on the front door of the hospital. We pried open the electric doors. There were flashlights on the other side. There were 3 emergency rescue officers with a raft, 3 adults and 2 dogs in the raft, and they floated into the first floor of Coney Island Hospital. We were able, after about 4 hours, to restart the emergency generators, and so we had power back up. During that period, the patients on ventilator were on backup battery power. Once the elevators were then powered up, obviously we began the process of evacuating about 200 patients. We had reduced the census there in preparation for the storm. There were no elective admissions. There were some early discharges before the storm. The scenario at Bellevue was similar yet different. Bellevue not only lost Con Ed power, it also lost heat and hot water because it is one of the facilities in Lower Manhattan that is fed by the steam grid from the cogeneration plant that Con Ed runs, and those grids were shut down. Both Coney Island and Bellevue, we believe, could have withstood storm surges of up to 12 feet. So it is estimated, based upon readings at Battery Park, we don't know the exact readings at the locations of Bellevue and Coney, but at Battery Park, it was nearly a 14-foot storm surge. So that inundated the basement at Bellevue Hospital. When I say inundated, it came in like a mini tsunami. There is a large loading dock there, and it just barreled in with so much force that it knocked elevator doors off their moorings. And in some instances, even parts of the system that had been protected. After Hurricane Irene, it occurred to us that the fuel pump, which brought fuel up to 4 major emergency generators on the 13th floor, was vulnerable because it was below grade. It was enclosed in a watertight compartment with what's called a submarine door, which has 7 pressure levers and a rubber gasket. It kept that pump dry. However, the sheer force of that raging water going through tunnels and space that there's 180,000 square feet of space in the basement complex under Bellevue. It is enormous. And the force of that water clearly just dislodged some of the electrical conduits coming down from the emergency generators to those fuel pumps. So we lost the fuel pumps. It helps to have very dedicated, ingenious staff in emergencies like this when the unexpected happen. After a while, it occurred to staff that they only had 7 hours of fuel left on the 13th floor for those 4 big generators, and they came up with a bucket brigade up 13 flights of stairs in order to carry up 5-gallon containers of fuel to continually top off the reservoir at the top.